Hello, everyone, and welcome to AEW 101. My name is Marcus, and today we have our group back together. The band is back together, and we are talking about one of the most prolific stables in pro wrestling history, and that is the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club has been around for a long time, spanning lots of members, and we're going to drop directly into it. So, Chris, you want to take over?
Yeah, howdy, folks. This is Chris, and as Marcus commented, the Bullet Club is one of the most prolific stables in wrestling. I would dare say the most influential stable of the early 2000s, which I would say from 2000 to 2025. Um, they have they started in New Japan. Marcus going to get into all the origins and all that. They're predominantly a company, or they were predominantly a faction in New Japan. They were also in ROH. They have had representation in TNA, former members in WWE and AEW. Three of the five leaders held the IWGP Heavyweight title. Multiple people within the faction held the IWGP Intercontinental and United States title, the never openweight and never six man titles, the junior tag, the heavyweight tag, basically if there was a title in New Japan, at least one member of Bullet Club has held it before, and they have held titles in ROH and TNA. Um, the biggest contribution is hard to say. I mean, from a merch standpoint, they moved a whole lot of t-shirts. They got into Hot Topic when Hot Topic really didn't do any wrestling merch at all. And through them, we've seen other wrestling merch arrive in stores. Yeah, they've been all over pay-per-view and the Elite, which we will get into later. Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page. We talked about the Elite on our last show. Uh, all Elite Wrestling, you could say, was born from the Bullet Club. Uh, the influence is far and wide across the wrestling landscape. And the history is really interesting, which we will get into starting with Marcus and the origins of the stable.
So, Finn Balor started the whole thing. He was a super junior uh, in that league, but he wanted to do more, and he knew he could not do it alone. so he decided to join up with Bad Luck Fale, who was a much bigger heavyweight guy, and have a reign of terror. And then they decided that wasn't enough, so Carl Anderson, who was kind of around the same build, a little bit bigger than Balor, joined in, and those were the founding members uh, of the Bullet Club. It expanded a little bit and joined in a few extra. The Young Bucks came along because they wanted to tackle the uh, tag team division, and those guys came in as well. But however, Pride was the downfall of Prince Prince Devitt, and the Young Bucks during his match attacked him and decided to end that and kick him out of the Bullet Club. 30 minutes later, however, in a match with Okada ended the match and ended up he was attacked by none other than AJ Styles, who revealed himself as as the the guy who was going to continue to lead the Bullet Club. Any questions? Any additions?
Yeah, Hamatonga was also an original member.
Okay, Tomatonga. Okay,
Yeah, it was those four.
alrighty. Anything else, guys?
We also have El Terrible and Rey Bucanero as early members, along with Doc Gallows, just in the
Yes.
org.
Yeah, Doc Gallows joined in and the with Anderson and became a formidable tag team as well. No, I didn't. I forgot to mention Gallows. Gallows is also known from his ex WWE fame as Festus and some other things.
Oh, I knew that name was familiar. I was trying to figure out why I knew that.
He's been around a
Festus,
while.
Luke Gallows. Yeah, he had a few names.
Yeah.
WWE naming conventions. I'm not good with them. I'll just warn
Yeah.
everybody right now.
So I'm going to pass it off to Val now, and Val is going to talk about her section.
Hello everyone, this is Val. So I'm going to talk about when AJ Styles left Bullet Club. Well, in fact, he did not leave. He got fired by none other than Kenny Omega on January 5th, 2016. And this is where he took over as the leader of the Bullet Club. So other than being the leader of the Bullet Club, he created, along with Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, the subgroup called the Elite. So during that time that he was the leader between 2016 and 2018, there was a civil war brewing within the original member of Bullet Club, meaning Bad Luck Fale and Tamatonga. And then some new members appeared. We had Adam Cole, Hangman and Page, and most importantly, Cody Rhodes. So there was a big fight internally in terms of the leadership of the Bullet Club between Kenny and Cody. That started at the beginning of 2018, and which resulted in a reunion of Kenny and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lover story that had like a finality and such. And then some members of the original Bullet Club decided to turn on Kenny, and they did that at a G1 special in San Francisco. If I remember correctly, it was around summertime 2018. And then we go and they all left, meaning Cody, the Young Bucks, and then Kenny lost at Wrestle Kingdom in 2019 against Tanahashi, and then the Bullet Club had a new leader. And I'll go to Taylor for the finality of the Bullet Club.
Okay, am I missing something?
In terms of the fallout of the Bullet Club's existence, it was influential in almost every modern wrestling org. Obviously, the elite inform upon AEW. Kenny Omega is the current champion. Hangman Adam Page is a multiple-time champion. Nick and Mac Jackson are the Young Bucks. They're a multiple-time tag team champions. You have the influence there. With Cody Rhodes also being part of the initial elite. Then he goes to the WWE. He retains his name. He becomes a multi-time WWE champion. I think he most recently lost to Sami Zayn, who then was picked up by CM Punk. And so that by itself, just that core of the elite, went on to inspire that much in the world. Prince Devitt goes on to become Finn Balor and Tama Tonga and another one become part of the bloodline, and I can never keep straight those guys' names, Tangaloa, but they get their character names. They're influential tag team champions up there. I watched some of the bloodline saga. Like, I saw some of that stuff. They're in there. They're influential. They win belts all the time. Templario was a bloodline or a Bullet Club member for a hot minute. One of my favorite CMLL wrestlers. He's currently the CML middleweight champion and CML. Frankie Kazarian is a big deal in TNA, and is influential, obviously, from the extension of TNA onward. AJ Styles is a legendary wrestler from TNA, the Bullet Club, and went on to be a multiple-time WWE champion and kept his name, which not a lot of those guys get to do that. Did it with Cody Rhodes. And then in terms of the modern sort of effects of what we see, the guys that are still kicking around like Robbie Eagles, El Phantasmo, who are still highly influential in the Mighty Don't Kneel, and then El Phantasmo's won multiple things in Japan. I haven't kept up with his career that closely. Chris can probably talk more about that. My bad. We, of course, get the modern Bang Bang Gang, which is my favorite faction in the WWE or in AEW, that now have David Finlay as the leader, or as the guy who beat up Jay White. That came back. Jay White came back, aced David Finlay with the Shillelagh, and then you get guys like Ace Austin, the Guns, brain work, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and all those guys in the Bang Bang Gang. That's all a consequence of the Bullet Club. The War Dogs are all a consequence of the Bullet Club. They came out of that. So all of those guys, Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, David Finlay, those guys are all the late Bullet Club members. So we can find the Bullet Club scattered across everything. They're everywhere. It's shocking how many different tentacles go back to the Bullet Club or Bullet Club subgroups that have influenced wrestling, both as champions and performers, in every org I know of that's big and modern.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing we didn't really touch on is if it wasn't for the Bullet Club, there may not have been an AEW. Anybody want to touch on that?
Yeah,
For sure. I
I
think
thought I
we
did.
I think we kind of glossed over the post Kenny time because the whole Bullet Club Civil War, honestly, it kind of fizzled out a little as soon as AEW started to become a thing, but that led the way for Jay White to do a bit of a, not really a hostile takeover, but him and Ghetto turned on Chaos and took over the Bullet Club. They again added more members. That's when Juice Robinson joined. They had a really good run, honestly, for a while with Jay White in the lead. And then,
Chris Bay as well.
yeah,
El
Chris
Phantasmo.
Bay, Ace Austin, El Phantasmo, which El Phantasmo as a heel was an absolute menace. I am
I believe
telling
that.
you this. 2020, I went over for Wrestle Kingdom, January 5th before they headed out for, or no, January 6th that year before they headed out for New Year's Dash. I was at the Tokyo Dome Hotel and I saw, I mean, a kid, probably 5, 6 years old, go to El Phantasmo like he did the Bullet Club hand gesture, but the kid was wearing a Los Ingobernables de Japón hat, So El Phantasmo looked down at him, smacked the hat off his head, and walked off laughing.
That's awesome.
I, honestly, I would say during the Jay White run, they were at they were kind of the perfect blend of dastardly heels and cocky jerks. Like I said, El Phantasmo knocked the hat off the kid. Jay White messed with the crowd all the time. And
I've I've
David
heard it.
David Finley brought them to their most vicious, I think. The War Dogs were, I mean, their whole motto was bring gold or bring bodies.
I've always had it described as the Bullet Club were a really good representative of like anti-heroes, and kind of were the first org to really bring that into the fore in terms of wrestling media and culture. But
Yeah,
at,
I think that's safe to say, especially during like the AJ Styles and Kenny Omega led years. They were they were still heels, but they weren't full blown just dastardly a-holes.
I mean, it reminds me of like how Swerve is now, where he goes back and forth between being a bad guy. He's like a middle, It's not
Yeah,
quite a
and I
bad guy.
mean Japan is it's interesting just to, the Japanese wrestling scene as a whole. There are heels and faces, but there's a lot more nuance and, fans are going to cheer for who they cheer for, and fighting spirit is a big thing over there. So, like, you see how Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks wrestle, and you can kind of understand why they would be considered heels, but get great reactions from the crowds.
Mhm.
What do you say is like the peak of the Bullet Club? What year, in you
Ooh,
guys' opinion?
that's a tough question.
Civil War. I mean, that's where you'd have the most members, and they'd be the biggest draw in terms of their storytelling.
I would say they were probably at their biggest between 2015 and 2017. Like, that's when they got to deal with Hot Topic. That's when they had
Good point.
Bullet Club in New Japan and Ring of Honor. You had to, you saw those shirts everywhere. Like any indie show you went to, you would see at least 5 Bullet Club shirts, and that's definitely lowballing.
Mm-hmm. Do you still see them?
Oh, for sure. I still have my Bullet Club Texas shirt.
I mean, I've seen them at every live show I've been at.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I think it's safe to say they are the most influential stable of the last 25 years.
I would
So
also argue
go
that
ahead.
like if we're going to have a modern Bullet Club, it's the Bang Bang Gang, the Dogs, and Gabe Kidd being the crossover to the Death Riders. Like that seems
Yeah,
to be because everybody in Japan has been discorporated. They're the Unbound company. Like those guys, Drilla Maloney's with them now. So like, if we have a modern derivation of what they are, it's in AEW right now.
yeah, and I will say it is a an inauspicious end for an incredibly influential stable. It just kind of it wasn't even David Finley, the Bullet Club leader at the time, who said, Bullet Club was done. It was Yoda Tsuji, who was the IWGP heavyweight champion at the time and is currently. Uh, the ending of the Bullet Club is just kind of like, wow, okay, it's just done.
Uh, yeah. So what would you guys say the difference between NWO and the Bullet Club is?
I I don't think a lot of the Bullet Club guys, when they became even leaders, were super popular, well known. well-established wrestlers like they were in the NWO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I don't think Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson had a huge following when they initially joined.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
And
that's what
I,
NWO was to me. It's all the big guys.
and I think the other biggest deal is Bullet Club realized when they were getting too many people. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw NWO had 79 members through its lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I Bullet Club, I think, is sitting at around like 30 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big difference. They did bring in some people who, maybe weren't so great, but they didn't just bring in every single person they could.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. From watching the videos, I went. Hey, if you guys want to catch it, New Japan has a whole segment on like 4 or 5 videos of just everything that you would need to know to get caught up on it, and that's a good resource for our listeners to hear about. So, if you want the absolute stuff from the horse's mouth, you'll go there and watch that.
Uh,
Val, do you have anything to add?
No, sounds good to me. So enjoy watching that on YouTube, and if you want, please subscribe to New Japan Pro Wrestling and go watch the from the beginning, because the Bullet Club is like one of the best stables they've ever done.
Very.
uh,
And
Go
if you
ahead,
Marcus,
want
Chris.
to see those guys in the modern day, watch AEW, because the
Yeah,
Bing Bang Gang and the Dogs are scrapping it right there, right now.
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
So, Chris,
Marcus, was it the recount that you watched?
yes,
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, that is a great deal. They have Bullet Club, and they've also got a bunch of other feuds and angles. Yeah, great deal on YouTube to watch. I cannot suggest that enough. I've gone back and watched it, even knowing the history of some things. I've watched those just because they they do everything in a really great way. Chris Charlton was
It's Kevin
uh,
Kelly who's done the
okay.
narrating for the
Yeah,
Kevin
Bullet
Kelly did
Club.
it. Okay, I
yeah,
couldn't remember if it was Chris Charlton or Kevin Kelly who did
It's
some of them. I
Kevin
think
Kelly.
okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a really good resource. I hope we covered enough for you. Like I said, it's a lot of drama in between the groups, but that's
Oh
wrestling
yeah.
for you. That's wrestling is one giant soap opera, and I think Bullet Club and j- just just personifies drama. So, but it came to a end finally. I think that maybe because a lot of them went to AEW and saw sought better exposure. So maybe that's what do you guys think? What do you think it ended?
I think
Yeah,
it.
it's definitely. Sorry, I would say it's definitely because a lot of them were going to AEW. That I think New Japan wasn't kind of sure. It's like, okay, if these guys stay, we can figure something else out later on. But if they don't, we want this group set up and ready to go. Yeah, like I said, it was an inauspicious end for
Mm-hmm.
a hugely influential and popular stable, but it didn't feel like a bad ending. It just kind of felt like, okay, it happened,
I viewed it as a
honestly.
passing of the torch. You know, it just once they moved over, it's like that everyone just the feud. I mean, Tony picked it right back up. It's just that receipt from Jay White to me is a continuation of all the Bullet Club stuff. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, the War Dogs there at the end were, Bullet Club in name only. Like, I think they were just wanting to keep the marketing machine running, but very little of the War Dog stuff actually had Bullet Club. Like, they were the War Dogs, and Bullet Club was kind of secondary.
All right, so I think we pretty well covered it. And stuff. I thank you guys for coming on. We want to keep on doing these. If you guys have any suggestions for the fans out there, to let us know, and we will try to do our best to cover. I do want to promote us on all different uh, avenues with different platforms, from Apple to Amazon. We are on a lot of different ones. Also, I want to promote the AEW Fan Hub and their Discord, as they have done the same for us and allowed us to promote on their sites as well. So with that, I'm going to wrap stuff up. I hope you guys had a good time doing this, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody. This is Taylor.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.